O earth, bear witness to my curse. Let the heavens hear my pain and deliver justice.
They banished her because she told the elders the prince was responsible for her pregnancy, left her in the forest to die. The sun beat down mercilessly on the village square as 30-year-old Oma stood before the Igwe and the Council of Elders. Her 7-month pregnancy was evident beneath her worn wrapper, and tears streamed down her face as she pleaded with the silent figure seated among the elders, the prince. "Please, my prince, tell them the truth." Oma's voice cracked with desperation. "Tell them how you promised to marry me that night. Tell them how you laid with me and gave me this child." The prince sat motionless, his face carved from stone, wearing his leopard skin over his shoulder. He said nothing. The villagers who had gathered murmured among themselves, their eyes filled with disgust and contempt for the woman who dared accuse the prince of such shameful behavior. The Igwe, wrapped in his ceremonial animal skins and beads, rose slowly from his bamboo throne. The palace walls, woven from bamboo and reinforced with clay, seemed to close in around Oma as he spoke. "We have waited on the gods to speak to us about who got you pregnant," the Igwe's voice thundered across the square. "You have continued to insist it is my son, the prince, but the gods remain silent." He paused, his old eyes scanning the crowd. "Lately, our land has been experiencing misfortunes, failed harvests, strange illnesses, unrest. I believe it is because we have not punished you for laying false accusations against the prince. It is time to deliver justice." "No, please!" Oma fell to her knees, her hands clasped before her. "I speak the truth. It was the prince who—" "Silence!" The Igwe raised his staff. "By the power vested in me as Igwe of this land, I hereby banish you to the evil forest of Uzo Ojo. You shall never set foot in this village again. Take her away." The guards descended upon Oma, dragging her to her feet. Some villagers joined in, pushing her, singing mocking songs as they escorted her toward the village boundary. Oma's cries echoed through the compounds of mud houses, but no one came to her aid. Back in the Igwe's palace, in the inner chamber where the bamboo walls were decorated with carved masks, the Lolo confronted her son. Her wrapper of fine raffia cloth rustled as she moved closer to the prince. "My son," she said, her voice low but firm in the presence of the Igwe and some elders, "I ask you again, are you certain you did not get that poor girl pregnant?" The prince's jaw tightened. "Mother, she lies. She only wants to stop my marriage to the princess of Isienu. I have never touched her." The Lolo searched her son's face, but he would not meet her eyes. Something stirred uneasily in her heart, but she said nothing more. At the village boundary, Oma collapsed to the ground, her body shaking with sobs. The escorts had left her there, their cruel songs fading into the distance. With trembling hands, she scooped up a handful of earth and raised it to the sky. "As you have used me and denied me like this, so shall the gods deny you of children. You will live but never have your own children till the days of your life." Some mothers who had followed to watch whispered among themselves and later reported Oma's curse to the Lolo. When the Lolo heard it, her unease deepened. She could feel that something was wrong somewhere, but she couldn't place it. No one knew what to believe, especially since the Azemu said the gods were silent. In the evil forest of Uzo Ojo, Oma wandered through the thick vegetation as darkness fell. The forest was rumored to be inhabited by evil spirits, a place where the banished were sent to die. She found a large tree and sat beneath it, hugging her swollen belly, and cried until exhaustion overtook her. She barely slept that night, every sound making her jump with fear. The following morning, hunger drove her from the forest. She made her way to a distant village where no one knew her, and found work sweeping compounds and fetching water. With the few cowries she earned, she bought cassava and palm oil, then returned to the forest before nightfall. 3 weeks passed this way. Gradually, the forest became familiar. Oma gathered palm fronds and with her own hands built a small hut. It was crude, just enough to keep out the rain and provide shelter. This became her home. Meanwhile, in her former village, the prince married the princess of Isienu in a grand ceremony. The drums played for 7 days and the celebration was lavish. Oma lived in the forest for 2 more months until she knew her time had come. That day, she did not return to the forest after her work. She needed to be near people who could help her. That night, in a small hut in the distant village, Oma gave birth to a baby boy. The midwife who attended her was kind, asking no questions about why this woman had no family. The baby was beautiful, with bright eyes and strong lungs. Oma held him close and whispered, "You are all I have now, my son. You are my everything." 3 years passed. Oma's son grew into a healthy, cheerful child. They would go to the market together, hand in hand, and return to their hut in the evil forest. The forest no longer frightened Oma. It had become her sanctuary. But in the village that had banished her, whispers began to spread like wildfire. The prince and the princess of Isienu remained childless, not even a miscarriage to give them hope. Perhaps Oma was telling the truth, the women murmured as they pounded cassava. If she wasn't, why hasn't the prince had a child by now? The men wondered as they tapped palm wine. The Igwe summoned his son to the palace. The prince knelt before his father on the mud floor of the bamboo hall. "My son," the Igwe said gravely, his leopard skin cloak draped over his aged shoulders. "The people are talking. You must give me a grandchild." "Father, do not worry. The gods will bless us soon." "I hope you remember our tradition." The Igwe's voice was sharp. "You can never be king if you do not have a child when I join the ancestors. Do you understand what is at stake?" Fear flickered across the prince's face. "Yes, father, I understand." That night, the princess of Isienu confronted her husband in their chamber. "I am leaving you," she said, her voice cold as she folded her wrappers. "What? Why?" "Everyone will think I am the problem. I will not be known as a barren woman. If you can't get me pregnant, I am going back to my father's house." The prince reached for her, but she pulled away. "You know the truth, don't you? There's a curse on you." After she left, the prince lay on his mat staring at the thatched roof. The night stretched endlessly before him, and sleep would not come. Images of Oma haunted him, her tears, her pleas, her curse at the boundary. By dawn, he had made his decision. The next morning, the prince summoned the Igwe, the Lolo, and his wife. In the bamboo hall, with trembling voice, he confessed everything. How he had indeed lain with Oma, how he had promised to marry her, and how he had denied it all to proceed with the royal marriage. The Lolo's hand flew to her mouth, her eyes filling with tears of shock and disappointment. The Igwe's face darkened with rage. "You have brought shame upon this house." The princess of Isienu needed to hear no more. She stood, gathered her belongings, and left the palace that same day, never to return. 8 market days later, the Igwe called the villagers together. "You all know that the prince's wife has left. We seek a new wife for him to fulfill his duty and give us an heir." The Igwe waited, but the square remained silent. Not a single maiden stepped forward. The villagers knew something was deeply wrong, and no family wanted to be part of the curse that had befallen the prince. 2 years crawled by. The prince remained alone in his compound. Then the Igwe fell ill. His body grew weak, and he could no longer stand without support. He called his son to his bedside.